And welcome to the Harpin and Rugby podcast. Joining me this week is someone back for cap number 73. Welcome back to Mr. Connor Cronin.
Delighted to be back. Delighted to be back to talk about a win as well. So that's always a positive thing.
You picked a good week to come back to us, all right, that's for sure. Well, let's turn our attention to that feature match of the week. And here's a generic 80-word summary of how things went. Ireland scraped past Italy 2013 in a tense Six Nations contest, trailing 10-5 at halftime after Giacomo Nicotera's try and Paolo Garbizi's kicking. They improved when the bench arrived. Jack Conan powered over before Robert Balakoon struck on his championship debut, with Jack Crowley adding crucial points. Italy stayed in touch through another Garbizi penalty and mounted late pressure, but Ireland's defence held firm and secured a much-needed first win in three. Now, obviously, we'll be going into a bit more detail than that. And for starters this week, Connor, we felt we've had to return to a theme that's come up a lot this season for both Leinster and Ireland, namely issues in our attack.
Yeah. A couple of years ago when Mike Catt announced he was leaving the role of attack coach, I think it's fair to say people were like, "Oh, that's a real pity." He's been good for us. He's really helped us put a decent shape on our attack, and in that shape there was guile and misdirection, and there was ideas, and yeah, it didn't always come to fruition the way we might have liked, but there was something to it. And then, in a very coincidental, not too long after announcement, Andrew Goodman announced he would be leaving Leinster, and I thought, oh well, that's okay. I don't actually mind that. Only to find out that he was going into the Ireland job. I genuinely don't know why. I don't know what he brings. I don't know what he offers that has him in that position. I didn't know what he brought to Leinster's attack. There were moments, but the forwards were coming up with those trick tap and go plays. That's nothing to do with him, I don't think. They're being creative in there, and the backs were making use of a dominant attacking platform that the forwards were providing. So you could run relatively simple shapes, or you could run simple things under that and, make it work. It's not working for Ireland. I struggle to see why. I I think our shape has deteriorated. I think we are not running. When you look at us running a diamond left and a diamond right, and questions being asked, and which way are they going? Where should we stack our defence? There's two forwards there, but there's three over here. What do we do now? And it left defences guessing a little bit, and so we could be more creative. And in those diamond shapes, you're passing to one player who's got three options. Then, is that ball now going left, right, or out the back? What's happening next? And that bit of invention that creates, that bit of opportunity that creates, it's just not there at the moment. I look at our attack yesterday, and I know that there are those who will say, yeah, but when certain things changed, didn't it all get a whole lot better? Yeah, certain things did change. I think a lot of the bench were on at that stage. But I think that over the last couple of weeks, we're too flat. We have players who don't expect the ball. The best example of that is yesterday um, when Jeremy Lockman has the ball batted back to him and he goes, me? Like, he just didn't know what to do. The ball just hits him and bounces off him. Like, you were told to chase. What were you expecting to happen? He's not going to jump and catch necessarily, because nobody's jumping and catching anymore. You've got to jump and bat the ball back, and he had no idea it was coming. And he's not the only one, though. And it's just an example of a moment where the ball comes to a player and he's surprised, because either players don't know what the calls are, or they don't know what the calls are meant to look like, or what the shape is meant to be. We've got players overrunning passes. We have very few strong running lines. A line that cuts against the grain a bit. Somebody, the passes are all going left, and suddenly you've got a player cutting it in right to make for the fact that everybody's shifting in the defence. Where is that? And the only ones I saw yesterday doing that were Stuart McCluskey and Nick Timoney. Those were two players I saw do that, and it worked really well. But where's that the rest of the game?
Mhm.
Um, and we're losing the battle up front. We're losing the battle with the forwards. So the forwards are not creating a platform where the backs can do anything. Yesterday, I don't know, did people? It's grand. It's only Italy. Let's see what we can do. But we were losing the battle up front from the beginning, um, and because we're losing that battle, there's no discernible shape to what we're doing. There's no obvious. This is and dare I say it, no leadership where somebody makes the call and says, lads, pay attention. It's this. This is what we're doing. It's just one out runners. It's aimless box kicks with no chasers. It's just flat rugby. Where's our creativity gone? Where's our bit of flair that we had a couple of years ago? And I know leading up to the World Cup, the question was there. When it was coming to the World Cup a couple of years ago, there was that thing of, oh, like, you know, are we just keeping our powder dry now? Are we just, we're not going to show anything. We're not going to show what things we've got because we want to keep them in reserve for that game or for this game or for. And when we had that mindset, it was like, oh, that's okay. We're waiting for something to come. And the somethings don't really come. Every now and then, there's a play where you look and you say, yes, that's nice. And yesterday, um, when Crowley came on, and I don't know, was it a case of him taking it and saying, now, lads, simple stuff. Where's your position? Where's your shape? Let's go. Or was somebody else making that call? The two things coincide. Um, but suddenly, simple balls to a simple ball out the back that creates space because you've got an attacker running into space and the ball goes behind him and he's sucked in two defenders and now Stuart McCluskey has room to stay upright and spin a little bit and pass a ball off or offload off the floor and
Yeah, I mean, I know we won the game, and we're starting with a kind of a negative kind of topic, but it is something that has been ongoing. And I remember before the November internationals, there was an interview. I think it was with Jemison Gibson Park, and he said, "Yeah, we're trying out some new things, and we're gonna, you're gonna see some new things from Ireland coming up." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good." And so basically, since then, I've been trying to find what it is we're trying to do now. I think there have been some moves. I think they rely on quick passing. They rely on quick hands and getting it wide sometimes. And when it works, it's really good. It does look good, but the problem is, like for example in Paris, we were overrun by the forwards, and if the quality of ball isn't there at the start from the scrum half, by the time you're getting it to the wing, you're never gonna execute moves like that. You factor in as well. We talked
and,
about
and, and
Sam.
and
I
look at
mean,
how
Sam.
quick look at
He
how
does have the
close
yeah,
Louis Lina got. Look how close Louis Lina got to an intercept because we were trying that
exactly.
and we
Yes,
weren't quite
because they
there
were
for
reading
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely. And then you look at Sam. I mean, Sam. He's obviously talented. He's obviously shown that talent in training, and that he's got the confidence. He's got the ability. It's just I think it's his actual decision making. At times, he tries. He's got the ability to do these fancy little grubbers through and kicks over the top and all this kind of stuff. It's just the timing when he does it. But I think as well on Saturday, especially, it was just the accuracy. And it wasn't just him, but there was times when we were doing the right things, but we weren't doing it right. We weren't doing it with any kind of accuracy. And at this level, I mean, this is an improving Italian side, and obviously it was France last week. You're going to be punished if it's not on the money. If the putting up high balls is fine. I'm not against that myself, but it's got to be accurate. If it's too far, and they get some space to run back at you, you're gonna pay, and you're gonna be on the back foot. So there are a lot of issues there, and I think that the overarching theme from this particular match when it comes to our attack plan is that yes, we did get tries. We got 3 tries. We could have even gotten a bonus point try had things not gone pear shaped right at the very end. But was that because of our attack strategy or was it in spite of it? And I think it was the latter.